to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. My apologies to the public for the delay. We'll try to speed things up as we go. Do we have a report?
There's no report from closed session, Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there a move to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Are there any?
I'll second.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. President, item 19
Item.
on the agenda actually refers to permanent employees as well as hourly employees.
All
Make
right.
that change to the agenda.
That's a change to the agenda. Are there any further changes?
Yes, Mr. President. I would like to remove the item on political activities from the agenda entirely and revisit that.
Thank you. And that number on the agenda is?
It's item number 6.
6, okay, good.
And just FYI, I have consulted with the Chancellor on that, and he concurs that it would be appropriate to bring this back at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Very good.
Any other changes to the agenda? And there being none, then is there a move to approve? All those in favor? I'll try it again. We already had the approval in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Is there a move to approve the minutes?
I'll second it.
Seconded. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions? Communications from the public?
We have a few speakers tonight, Mr. President. We have from the Peralta Colleges Foundation, Eric Kishauer and Romeo Garcia, followed by James Blake.
That work? Okay. Thanks very much for giving us the opportunity to talk here tonight, Mr. Chancellor and Board of Trustees. We've given you each a sheet of paper that talks a little bit about our upcoming golf tournament, and we're hoping to make this the biggest and best one that we've done, and getting the Peralta Foundation on the way to independence. You'll see we have a pretty aggressive package of sponsorships here, and anything that you can do as a board to give us a hand to solicit these sponsorships, because these tournaments only succeed based on the sponsorships that we get. And we've put in a very attractive list of benefits that people get for sponsorships. So look forward to making something happen. We're doing it at Sequoia Country Club this year, private country club, so it's a little more exclusive than being out at the Metropolitan like we've been in the past, and looking forward to something pretty spectacular.
What are the dates for this?
It's on the sheet that we gave you. It's Monday, July 22nd. And I just want to emphasize again the importance of getting the support of the Board of Trustees and college presidents and all Peralta staff to help us get the types of sponsorships that we would like to get in order to make sure that we raise the funds we'd like to support student scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have James Blake, and then additional time ceded to Mr. Blake by Molly Sandoval, so total is 6 minutes.
Good evening, board members, administration, and also audience. My reason for speaking to you again is to look at some data that can be helpful in terms of looking at how we can assess our manpower allocation, and particularly classified support staff. I hand out a leaflet which I put on in front of your desk here that shows our benchmarked districts that we use at the PBC, the Budget and Planning Committee, and Peralta is number 5. On the second page, on that handout, you'll see a breakdown in terms of what the statewide average is in terms of classified support. I'm very concerned about how we utilize data, because data is helpful in helping us to find the best decisions in terms of impacting our students and organizing our allocation for human resources for the institutions. And I started this process when I asked a question at one of the shared governance meetings at the district, when I asked, what plan do we have for hiring classified? The answer I got was that we didn't have a plan. And so I started looking at the state chancellor's office information to see was there any established trends that would help us to mitigate making those type of decisions using some good data. And what I found was that the data was there, but it's a matter in terms of us looking at the data. We can look at data from both a quantitative and a qualitative manner. And in education, we should use both, because we also have to look at how the changes we make and decisions we make impact our students. And oftentimes we assess that through student learning outcomes, seeing how well we retain and our students, our completion rates, our transfer rates, and all this is driven by making good decisions based on data. The other thing that we should also keep in mind is that even our accreditation standards home in on the fact that we should use sound data in making our determinations as whether or not we are rendering quality education to our students. And so my reason for focusing on this, if you look at the data chart that I passed out, we ranked in our comparative districts second from the bottom. And if you looked on the following page and see what the state average is, we are below the state average in terms of the amount of classified support. So whenever we have allocations, what the data helps us to appreciate is that there is a direct relationship between every facet or classification of a full-time employee we have in education, whether it's administrators, whether it's faculty, or classified staff. And historically, this data has been pretty much consistent. So it helps us to, if we look at it in that perspective, it helps us to see where we should be. It also will be incumbent upon us to see how our decisions that we make on the allocation of the number of human resources that we're going to allocate impacts our student learning outcomes. Did it improve the situation for students? And if so, how so? If it did not, then we should look at that and make changes in that regard. As we look at the other comparative districts, we may want to consider, for those who are lower than us, how are they serving their students? Those who are higher than us, how are they serving their students? What is the outcome of that comparative full-time equivalency as far as staff goes? And it's based on those type of decisions that we can, I feel, make intelligent decisions that will have a good outcome for our students, so that we have the proper component of all full-time equivalents at our district, at the colleges, so that we can ensure that we have a successful student clientele, and that we study how, when we make those decisions, their impact on our students. And that way we can keep in line with our accreditation standards and eligibility requirements, and also make our community proud of the type of work that we do and manifest here at Peralta. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other speakers?
Yes, the next speaker is Matthew Goldstein. No more speakers, Mr. President.
Thank you. Reports from the Associated Student Government Representatives.
I think they're on spring break.
Spring break for the Associated Student Government. All right, we move now to the Chancellor's reports.
Is it my turn? It's my turn? No. Yeah.
Correct, Chancellor.
I'm sorry. I just have a brief comment. I don't have a report other than to tell the board and the general public that for the last week or so, we've been working intensely in getting our accreditation progress reports to the Accreditation Commission. They were hand-delivered last Wednesday, and it's all ready to go. I was just informed by the commission that we will be having a site visit next week. There will be 4 visiting teams, one for each college. They are scheduled to come to the district office on Monday, April 1st in the afternoon to interview district personnel. I expect they'll be focusing on recommendations 2, 3, and 4. And then on Tuesday, they will visit the colleges. Like I said, there are 4 individual teams, one for each college, and they will be deployed to each college. On Tuesday, leave Tuesday afternoon with, there is no exit report. They just will leave and then write up a report for the commission, who will then consider that report and the documentation that we provide them in their June, I think it's June 5th and 6th meeting this summer. We will hear from the commission probably sometime in July.
Thank you for that report. Do you have the names of the individuals who may be coming to visit? I realize we just got notice and they may not be
Yes, would you
available.
like me to, I have to look them up.
Okay, well, thank you. I think,
I'll send them to the board, but they are, there's two individuals for each college.
thank you.
And there is no chair of chairs.
Okay, thank you. Are
So,
there further reports, Chancellor?
yeah, that's all I have to report on, although I would have Vice Chancellor Gerhardt report on item, I'm sorry, I don't have that page, but it is, in your agenda this evening, we have item 17, which is the actuarial report. I think it's important that we have a public disclosure on what that actuarial report has to say, and then I've asked Vice Chancellor Gerhardt to summarize that report for the benefit of the board and the general public. So, Vice Chancellor Gerhardt, will you please?
Thank you, Chancellor.
I know you're excited to share this information.
Gets my blood pumping. Thank you, and good evening. As Chancellor mentioned, item number 17 on this evening's agenda is the district's updated or revised actuarial report. I'd just like to highlight a few cogent points or particular points within it that I think is relevant given the special report that's also on the agenda and the interest that outside agencies have had with our funding of our actuarial liability in our program. The purpose of this report is to project the district's overall other post-employment benefits for the fiscal year 2013. The last actuarial report that the district had conducted was back in 2010, and this is consistent with the requirements under Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement number 45. The district is required no less than every 2 years to conduct this type of study that an actuarial firm comes in and based upon employee data and retiree data and medical trends and inflationary trends project a value over a 30-year period of the district's liability. This report, happily to report to you, this report projects a actuarial liability of approximately $182.7 million. This is down considerably, approximately 17% compared to the 2010 actuarial report. Within that 2010 actuarial report, that liability was projected to be approximately $221 million. So again, this represents a 17% reduction. Magnitude, dollar magnitude is about a $38 million reduction. Now, there are a number of reasons or factors associated with this reduction. The biggest factor is the results of our successful negotiations with the 3 collective bargaining agreements, or units, excuse me, in terms of coming to an agreement on the restructuring of our health benefits. I think the biggest piece of that was I think the common term that we've used is a core source light option for employees that has reduced our costs significantly, and a result reduced our long-term liability significantly. Second to that, another reason attributed to the reduction is that when the overall headcount in terms of numbers of active employees and active or participating retirees over that 2-year period actually declined about 10%. So we have fewer folks covered under the district's OPEB program. And then thirdly, there were some changes in assumptions and evaluations used by the actuarial study or the actuarial firm. For example, the previous study in 2010 used a discount factor of 7%. This new study, 2012, used a discount factor of approximately 6.75%. There was also a change in trends, medical trends. The previous 2010 study, the trend, the annual percentage increase in medical costs fluctuated anywhere between 5 and 10% over a approximately 22-year period, and this one used a constant rate as opposed to that fluctuating rate that was less. I think it was approximately 4 to 5%. And then, well, those are the three topics or largest areas for the reduction. But again, the most notable and the reason for the greatest change is related to the changes in the benefit structures that we had agreement with the 3 unions. So the report is before the Board of Trustees tonight. It was previously before the Retirement Board where there was much discussion and reflection in terms of how that report and the liability will impact our investment policy statement and our target objectives moving forward. The report has also been shared with our Planning and Budget Council, which is the district-wide shared governance committee, and again, it's here before you tonight. Now, after tonight, it will then be moved forward and change our substantive plan, which is our long-term funding model in terms of making sure that we have enough assets in the trust in approximately 25 years to fully fund this liability over the long run. So very positive news, and thank you for allowing me to share this with you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the trustees?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just a comment, not a question. I'd like to just, first of all, endorse that it's a very, very, very positive report, and the timing couldn't have been better. I think that our Vice Chancellor for Finance, our CFO, isn't taking as much credit as he should. This report is achieving the level that it is because Vice Chancellor Gerhardt asked the right questions, and he's had the support of the Vice Chancellor for Human Relations. And I think that, again, very, very positive.
Any other comments, please? Trustee again.
For what reasons, I'm looking at this new company, Total Compensation Systems. We used a different company before. One of the questions I had asked beforehand as to why the change in discount rate. And I understand what the discount rate was last time. You said it was about 7%. Now it's 6.75. What justifies that change in the discount rate? And then 2, why aren't we using the same company that did? It's hard for me to compare sort of their methodology versus the company that we used 2 years ago. So I'm not sure if I'm getting apples to apple comparisons here.
To address the first, the reduction in the discount rate is mainly attributed to an anticipated reduction in the rate of return on the assets in the revocable trust related to this. That is the primary reason. In the past, in the previous actuarial study, the actuarial firm used 7% because it was somewhat tied or linked to the, or somewhat similar, I should say, to the CalPERS discount factor, or at least their target rate of return, which initially at that time in 2010, before our new investment policy statement and everything else that has occurred in the last 2 years, that's what, based upon the initial documents then, what our funding model or rate of return was modeled similar to the CalPERS. Now, related to the change in actuarial firms, the previous firm had been retained by the district since 2005 to conduct the actuarial, and during that period of time, there were large, wide fluctuations that were concerning. But I think in addition to that, in addition to that, I would say, is that the total compensation firm, the principal, his name is Jeff Kischek, he has done or performed the actuarial studies for in excess of 2/3 of the California community colleges who have OPEB liabilities. So when evaluating the background in the firm, and given our situation, unique situation where we're at, total compensation seemed to be a greater fit, and he brought to the table with him a greater depth of knowledge and experience in California community colleges.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. And the last question is, I understand that our pay-as-you-go contribution is about $10 million. How does that number compare with revocable trust?
Well, the assets as of February 28th, the assets in the revocable trust were approximately $186 million. So we've had in the last year, we've had approximately a 14% return. So now speaking directly to your question, how does the pay-as-you-go, the funding in the trust is there to meet two objectives. Number one, to fully fund this actuarial liability, but also two, to the extent that there are excess funds in excess of the actuarial liability to help the district with the related debt service. I mean, those are the only two permissible uses in the bond covenants. It's difficult to make that necessarily that linkage right now, because the pay-as-you-go is a actuarial projection over the next 22 years, as he has in the report, of we're going to pay about anywhere between $9.5 to $10 million per year for our current retirees. Right now we have about 740 retirees that we're paying for, that $9 million. So it's hard necessarily to make that connection, because the pay-as-you-go is an annual amount and the trust is a long-term 22, 25, 30-year pot of money that once assets get to a certain level, we'll be able to utilize in some respect to help the district's general fund, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Any further questions? Thank you for the report. Chancellor?
That concludes Chancellor's reports.
Thank you. Now, reports from the Board of Trustees. We'll begin down at Meredith's end.
I'd like to congratulate the students of Laney College that participated in the culinary competition this past weekend, a major competition with, I think it's the Champs du Rôtissier's competition, and our students were from Laney College, Shana Wagia and Phoebe Sanders, Ayana Cutright and Lena Foster. They won bronze medals, and I think that's a huge accomplishment and a great testament to how well the students are accomplished and trained at Laney College and from the Peralta system. So congratulations to those students.
Thank you. Sharon? Linda? Bill?
I wanted to just share with the Peralta community a quote that I came along with hearing the comments from Dr. Van Putten a couple meetings ago, how important it is for the institution to affirm students in what we do every day. And I came along this quote, and I thought it was very apropos for what we do here at Peralta. So I just wanted to share with my colleagues here at the board. And it says that the student is the most important person on campus. Without them, there would be no need for the institution. Not a cold enrollment statistic, but flesh and blood, human beings with feelings and emotions like our own. Not someone to be tolerated so that we can do our own thing. They are our thing. Not dependent on us, rather we are dependent on them. Not an interruption of our work, but the purpose of it. We are not doing them a favor by serving them. They are doing us a favor by giving us the opportunity to do so. The author's unknown, but I think it's a very powerful quote, and I think it's something that this institution should embody, and I think it's something that we should keep in mind. I know it's something that I will keep in mind as a trustee of the board while I serve as a trustee.
Thank you. Trustee?
I recently, it came to my attention that the CFT convention that happened about a week ago, that at the convention, the CFT passed a resolution in support of CalSTRS and PERS, I believe this is correct, disinvestment of carbon stocks. That is looking at the portfolio, the financial portfolio of CalSTRS and PERS, and looking at seeing where are we investing our dollars in our retirement funds, huge retirement funds. And my understanding is that the CFT actually passed a resolution encouraging CalSTRS and PERS to move away from investments in the most carbon-intensive companies. And if in fact this is true, I want to congratulate them. That's an amazing public statement, and I think something that we should all be looking at as a public institution. Thank you. Oh, and I'm going to be calling in to the next two board meetings, so I won't be physically present, but I will be mentally here. I'm going on sabbatical, and I will be out of the country for the next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brian? All right, that concludes reports from the Board of Trustees. Now we'll have a report from the District Academic Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is no Academic Senate report tonight.
Call on Chancellor Ortiz for a study session on proposed board. I'm sorry, that was removed. All right. Sorry, I don't have that crossed off. So we go now to presentations, the update on the IT strategy implementation. And the presenter is Calvin B. Madlock, Associate Vice Chancellor of IT.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor, Vice Chancellors, college presidents, cabinet members, and the community at large. Concerning the state of Peralta District Information Technology, my goal tonight, in about 20 minutes or less, is to tell you a little bit about where we were, where we are currently, and what we will look like in 2015. And then I'm going to sit down after questions. While sharing this technology vision, I hope to gain your confidence that the Peralta Community College District IT will become the premier technology service provider in the state of California. First of all, I want to talk about what we've done with IT. District IT have transitioned off 9 consultants within the last 6 months. 1 consultant with the Easy Pass and the staff development. If you know, Easy Pass is our AC Transit for student transportation. Staff development allows the staff to be able to enter their flex hours and developmental hours online. EB5C was the 3 consultants we rolled off. Electronic personnel action forms, the electronic content management system. They wrote the SOW, the IT strategy, along with Peralta. And then ERP analysts, we had 2 consultants that we rolled off from script development for PeopleSoft upgrade testing. We had 2 consultants also rolled off from eVerge with Peralta, financial business intelligence project. And Turtle Enterprises, we rolled off 1 consultant who had wrote the IT strategy and the PeopleSoft upgrade project manager. All of these duties and responsibilities have now been absorbed by the IT department. I'm really proud to say that. Now, I can tell you, I'm not saying that we're not going to ever use a consultant again at Peralta in the IT department. So what are you saying, Mr. Madlock? What I am saying is, you ask for oversight, we have oversight. What I'm saying is, we have a methodology that we'll follow, so we'll bring a consultant in specialized areas where we need them, and we will have the oversight, we will have the accountability, the mechanism and the processes in place to make sure that we get a formal transition plan in place or a formal knowledge transfer, and then we'll roll them off. Let me give you an example of when we need consultants, when it's specialized. One example is we have something you're familiar with if you're staff, it's called Prompt. One, if you're a student, it's called Passport, sorry. The portal is our gateway to our enterprise, the way we do business. So this portal requires someone with specialized skills that have the knowledge base, because this portal encompasses all our security, it encompasses all the network traffic that comes into our network, the load balancing. There's a lot behind the portal. I looked at comparable schools, and they either have 2 portal administrators, at a minimum 1. We have none. And so that's just an example of one of the areas that we're going to need some help in terms of our consultants. 7 vacant positions within the district had been filled also within that time frame. I must be honest with you, the Associate Vice Chancellor, those that don't know, that's me. I actually came in September 2012, and also the database administrator. We're happy to say we filled the Director of Enterprise Services and the Director of Technology Services. And let me explain what these positions are. The Director of Enterprise Services is responsible for the network, the hardware, the storage, smart classroom technology. They are responsible for the VoIP telephone community systems. They are responsible for all their desktops and all those type of things, and we're glad to have them on board. The Director of Enterprise Services, kind of went backwards, is responsible for all the programming, the application programming for the PeopleSoft module, for the financials, for the student administration, and also for the human resources element of PeopleSoft. And then we got brought in there was 2 senior software analyst positions. They are new positions. A senior network coordinator also, application software analyst is in progress, and we have a enterprise project manager that's in progress. So in addition, District IT has gained oversight of 4 consultants contracted through Hicks Consultants Group. And the reason we took oversight of this group is because this is the group that maintains the financial aid on a safe system. I have some experience on mainframes, and not only that, we have to get knowledge transfer before we migrate over to the new system. We'll talk about that a little later. This slide, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. The only reason I put it in here is because I want you to understand that what we've implemented is a 5-step methodology from PMI, the Project Management Institute, that will, if we execute this method, it would help us to make sure projects are completed on time, completed within budget, and are completed within the quality that we deserve here at Peralta. And if you look down in red, at each step, initiation and planning, analysis and design, develop, configure and execute, test, train and monitor, deploy, optimize, and close out. Each one of our projects will go through this methodology. And each one of those are a quality checkpoint that I will be signing off on, along with my boss, if he desired to. And so we have a checkpoint. And that's the oversight. That's the accountability. That's the quality statement that says we are accountable here at Peralta, and our consultants or vendors are also accountable. Now to the IT strategy projects, or I would like to call them our portfolio of investments. Standard-based procurement, completed. Standard-based procurement, as you know, this is where the college and the district agreed upon a single standard, a single brand of configuration when purchasing equipment. That's done. Rationalize IT spend with a consolidated IT budget. It say complete, but that's one I'm looking into. It is not complete. This is where the colleges are looking at all the IT spending for all colleges and the district, and they consolidated into one, roll it up into one budget line item. And as a result, many companies like HP and IBM has found significant savings, a reduction in their costs as a result of that one. So the next time we meet, I will update where we are on that. We are working with the colleges and to get that completed. Web-based email, we pushed it off until next fiscal year. Tell you why in a minute. Upgrade to PeopleSoft. Actually, that's why. That's a very critical project. You know it. Look across. We will be finished in May. That's the target date. Right now, there's no challenges or issues that can impact that date. I'm working with the colleges. We have a steering committee established. So we plan on getting that project rolled out. And there are many other projects that are dependent on the upgrade of PeopleSoft. Reduce the total cost of ownership with lease and service agreements. What this is we want to discontinue the use of bond funds to purchase personal computers and be able to replace them with a cycle with lease agreements. And that will be on a refresh cycle, 3 to 5 years. I think it's 5 years now because we can boost up the systems strong enough. Managed print. Instead of everyone have a printer on their desktop next fiscal year, we will look at how we can save money with the printing. Virtualization of laptops and desktop. Do everyone need a powerful machine on their desktop? Or do we give them a thin client and run most of the power back in the server room where it's easy to maintain and manage? Create a cloud strategy and virtualization of the data center. Do we keep our data center or do we put it on the cloud? Do we keep a private cloud with our sensitive data here? And do we push some of the data out on the private cloud, on the public cloud? We'll start looking at that. That's what that strategy is all about. Business intelligence. As I should back up a little bit. The IT strategy, which was adopted, I believe, February 2012, is divided into 4 themes or 5 themes. One is sustainable IT infrastructure, business intelligence, back office efficiency, the institutional ability to deliver, I like that one, and mobile learning. Let's go back to the slide previously. Financial data warehouse, we've completed that, phase 1 of that. We are unable to get any reports from it now because there's a phase 2 that needs to happen. We're currently looking into that. So the bond program, reporting data warehouse, the update to the student data warehouse, HR data warehouse, and the procurement data warehouse. All these components that we own the technology, but we haven't rolled those modules out yet. And we need to because that'll help each one of these areas do their job more efficiently. Next slide. I'm just going to go over a couple here so I can move on. Document management. You may have heard of this. This is the electronic content management, the imaging So we can go over into the general services area and start scanning in some of those documents and with all those bonds. We can go into the A&R area and begin to scan in a lot of the student records and transcript processing, all merged into the document management system. That's very important. The electronic PA form, electronic personnel action form, it's a workflow process or program that have helped streamline some of the challenges with the hiring process. That's been completed. The student financial aid, I would say the #2 priority right now. It's dependent upon the upgrade of the PeopleSoft product. Immediately following, and right now, we're working on the financial aid module. We're doing the planning. We have the statement of work that's completed, and tomorrow there will be, we're having the first meeting for a pre-conference bid conference. So there will be vendors coming to bid on the implementation of the financial aid module. So you will be seeing that come your way soon. In addition, I should have stated that the document management statement of work is in negotiation right now. I believe the SOW is in negotiation, so it'll be coming your way soon. All right, so I'm going to move on down that institutional ability to deliver real quick. All the other projects that you see on there are important, but they have been pushed off to next fiscal year. One I want to share with you just a little bit, the institutional IT staff training and professional development. We are training, we have new staff members, and we are constantly training in PeopleSoft skills, and we're training in project management skills, and we're getting people up to speed to be able to maintain our systems in-house. Mobile learning, all that activity have been pushed off for next fiscal year. Just a little bit about the budget real quick on the projects that's been completed. The standards-based procurement, you notice that we had $45,000 slated for this project, but we have no actual cost. The reason we have it that way is because we did most of this in-house. Not only us at the district, but the colleges, all the network coordinators, they all got together, and all the people, and we did that in-house, so we didn't really know how to break down that cost on this sheet. And rationalize IT spend with a consolidated IT budget. I mentioned that one has not been completed yet. Let's go to the IT asset and end device management. As I mentioned to you, most people might not know what that means, but that gives us better asset management, inventory control over our systems. We roll out close to 3,000 clients to allow us to be able to help with power saving, power monitoring, remote access, so we can actually roll out software to classrooms or labs at a remote desktop. And that will save us time with network engineers going out to load individual machines with software. Or if a vulnerability or attack happens, we can send a fix out remotely. Business intelligence, I'll jump down to the financial data warehouse. Once again, once this is completed, the second phase of this, the finance will be able to streamline their processes by getting reports like general ledger and balance sheets and all the reports that they need as a part of that. And then let's look at the back office efficiency, electronic PA form. Here HR is really enjoying that workflow process. And I'm really happy that my team stepped up and are being able to maintain that. That is a very sophisticated programming language that was, they programmed that in, and we were able to maintain that, and I think they deserve credit for that. And this is priority A. These are priority A projects initially. That's the way we position everything. They are priority B projects that we haven't really got started on. They're being processed if you look at the initial layout. And then we have the priority C projects that we haven't got started on. But what we would like to do is I would like to give the Chancellor and my boss a quarterly update, and if they deem necessary, I can keep you up to date on a quarterly basis on where we are. But not only the IT strategy projects that we have to deal with, we have to keep the lights on. There are more projects. There are projects like what I call the low-hanging fruit. the one that, you know, that they sit there, they're going to be spoiled, so we have to do this. We have to do the CCC apply admission application. We have to do e-transcript, and we have to do it pretty rapidly. And let me just give you a snapshot. CCC apply, the document management system, the financial aid application, along with the Google Doc email will probably be running in parallel. So just to let you know, we'll be busy the next fiscal year, right after the upgrade to PeopleSoft. A faculty grade book. What about that? We contributor relations, the alumni. And let me go back to faculty grade book. One thing we did do, we partnered or rebuilt the relationship with Oracle, and we came out to do, Oracle came out to do demos. And what we want to do is, instead of superimposing something on a department, we asked the faculty to get together and take a look at the grade book, and Oracle presented it, and they would tell us that they want it or they don't want it, and then we'll implement it from there. Academic advising, we have to get that going. Progress probation, hardware infrastructure upgrade in the data center, storage capacity. What about our servers? We have servers, we have firewalls, we have equipment that's not only beyond the end of life, we have equipment that's beyond end of line. I mean, it does not, the manufacturers don't even make it any longer. So we have to take a real close look at that. Voice to telecommunication system district-wide. We have to work, we have 3 different telephone communication systems right now. Berkeley is suffering the most because they don't have support on their phone system right now. We intend to fix that. Campus facility IT infrastructure. We got buildings, 860 Atlantic, that houses merit and COA classes. We have to do the infrastructure in there in terms of telephone and networking and support that. The Laney Tower, we need to support the Laney Tower and their communication and networking needs. And there again, Berkeley Voice over IP. And then what about pro rata, the payment process for various employees, or how you pay our part-time employees or hourly employees is very important. Tax updates, benefit modification, reporting. And what about our campus mobile strategy? We have to do this. And disaster recovery. What if something happens? Or where without disaster recovery? All these things are on our plate in addition to the IT strategy. So I call them the low-hanging fruit. So the IT strategy have 31 approved projects or a portfolio of investments. 4 completed. As you remember, 1 was not completed. That means it'll be 7 in progress, all right? So there are 2 we'll start prior to June 2013. 1 is the financial aid module, and 18 scheduled for fiscal year 2013-14, and then 2 carrying over into fiscal year 2014-15. And so maintenance and daily activities, that's the low-hanging fruit, in addition with the IT strategy I talked about earlier. This is what I believe Peralta will look like in 2015. I believe in 2015 that IT will continue to provide educational leadership and superior technology services to the primary customer base, our students, our faculty, our staff, and the local community. This will be done in a transparent, secure, and collaborative manner with a proven process improvement and repeatable processes through innovative feedback from the colleges. Students will love coming to Peralta's because they will be able to collaborate with their classmates in group projects through Google Docs and email, and to share homework assignments with their instructors. They will be able to get a snapshot and access of their academic progress anywhere, anytime, with high-speed mobile internet, to their resources through their Passport portal, even on a mobile phone. Faculty will love teaching in an environment where there is rapid response to service requests and state-of-the-art smart classrooms with streaming video on mobile devices and high-speed chat messaging to their students through cloud technology. They will be able to enter their grades in a uniform manner and enjoy support of a superior class scheduling system that will allow for planning and forecasting. Education services will be able to make state-regulated changes with shared and reasonable service level agreements. The college will enjoy shorter college service lines and wait periods, admissions, enrollment, financial aid, disbursements. Users will be able to get their PCs without a long wait and equipment reaching beyond end of life. And finally, it will be great to be an employee in finance and purchasing and payroll, human resources, benefits, and general services, because they will enjoy the streaming of their processes with workflow, navigation along with process, improved business process reporting in order to make critical business decisions for our enterprise. Some of these business decisions revolve around time and labor and management of absences, electronic procurement, bond management, and journal processing. In essence, these areas will enjoy cost savings, reduction in maintenance and support costs, along better inventory control and efficiency. And all of this because someone thought about the IT strategy, a portfolio of investments. And in return on the investments, we believe in 2015, this is how Peralta will look. And it's because of the low-hanging fruit and the investment that we've come out with. So, that we've come up with. And so with that, I would ask you if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you for your presentation, and maybe it's a comment on your scale. You ended exactly 20 minutes after you started, and you projected 20 minutes, so hopefully 2015 is going to be that end.
Thank you.
Thanks. And so questions, we'll start with Trustee Brown.
Thank you very much, President and Chancellor. If I may direct a few questions to Mr. Matlock. I'd first like to say I'm very heartened by the report. It's very encouraging to see that there are service-oriented technological implements or elements that are at the A range, at the priority range in the report. One of the questions I have regarding some of the items that reach multiple months is what is the implementation timeline within that block of time? How will the services be rolled out so that they're increasingly have a positive impact and facilitate the operations of the colleges and the district to ease the day-to-day experience that the faculty and the students have in terms of reporting grades, in terms of accessing transcripts and receiving financial aid? Will there be a greater ease as time goes on, or is it something that will take a long time for the infrastructure development and then the switch goes on at once?
Well, let me see, can I answer some of those questions. One is, with the staff that we have now on board, we are looking at our ticketing system, our maintenance activity, or the things I call low-hanging fruit. We are now, with the District Technology Committee, the Shared Governance Committee, we're going out and finding out what are those needs, and we're being able to turn around these a lot quicker than we were in the past. And one of those reasons is because we have hired a Director of Technology Services. Is he here tonight? Let's wave your hand. In terms of classroom, he's an expert in classroom technology, and I feel very confident with the people that we've hired that we'll be able to kind of close that gap, all while we're implementing those projects that are crucial. I don't know if that answers your question. If you get a little more specific, I can give you a better answer.
My question more specifically is with respect to financial aid. How will will there be an increased aid or increased facility of application for students? Will there be will it be easier and easier incrementally for students to access financial aid, for financial aid to be processed, and for that whole experience to be more efficient and effective? And then also with respect to the being able to access grades and the inputting of grades, will that become increasingly effective as these 12 months pass for the timeline that's been set for these? Or is this something that has to have the infrastructure built over the 12 months, and then it will be, once the implementation is done, then we can get the benefit of those services or those investments?
Well, let me just address this first of all. First of all, I want to say that anytime we do something, there are 3 areas I want you to think about. There's the people component, there's the process, and there's the technology. We do the technology. However, we drive a lot of the processes too. I'm working close with financial aid right now to see what we can do to help streamline that. One of the reasons the IT is overseeing the consultants who, financial aid is run now on a legacy system. And so we had to have oversight on that financial aid group in order to help our customers be able to produce financial aid reports on time and on schedule. And that's what we're doing in terms of the financial aid. So streamlining that process, that's all we can do to keep the lights on with that old aging legacy system. And so with that, I have access with the consultants. I have the oversight. I'm working with Mike Orkin's group and making sure that any questions they need to get from that mainframe and to help the processes for financial aid is being handled in a more timely manner. We have improved that, and I'm sure that Mike will speak to that if he's here. Yes, so we've improved that process. Second, the grades. When I went out and met with the academic Senate groups, what I'm finding out that everyone does grades in such an ad hoc manner. So with the grades, we're probably going to have to need a system approach to fixing the grade and streamline that process, because we don't have anything in place right now that would suffice. So.
Okay, and the last question is in terms of updates. You had mentioned that we might be getting quarterly updates as we go through this 2012 to 2015 process?
Yes, I would love to do that. That'll be with the Chancellor's direction and leadership. I would have to go to him for that, but I would like to give an update so you can see where we were the last time I spoke, and then you can see where we are going and have we achieved anything, so we can have a checklist and say, okay, we can kind of check things off, and we kind of in this together. I would like to see that on a quarterly basis. That will really do me and my department well to know that we're accomplishing something and we're being recognized for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you very much. And I misspoke. My last question is with respect to the technology master plan. Is that something that is going to be updated for a report to the board? And maybe I should be directing this to the Chancellor. There's an existence, a technology master plan, and is that going to be integrated with the IT strategy timelines and critical path that Mr. Matlock has presented, or actually, how do we reconcile those two documents?
Well, as you may recall, our last board meeting, we discussed the district's education and facilities master plan update, which is due probably this time next year. And at that time, we would also include technology in that review. In terms of a master plan, we would look at our existing IT strategy and make an evaluation of where we are vis-a-vis where we want to be. And that'll also be part of the overall educational facilities master plan.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you again, Mr. Matlock. Very heartened to have this report. Very encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Handy?
I just had one question. I think you may have answered. The Hicks Consultant Group, this is the group that has been running our concurrent system all this time, the legacy system. Is that correct?
Yes, which is our financial aid application is running on that system. Correct.
Okay, and there are like 3 people that are part of that consultant group? Okay, right. And so that's what I wanted to be clear on, because I believe that's been running the whole time that we've been running PeopleSoft. We've also been running that legacy system behind it. And I always say that when we talk about the cost of running PeopleSoft, we also have to talk about the cost of this secondary backup system. Actually, there was another one at one time too, I believe. I can't.
That was a safe. I guess
safe, yeah. So moving forward, so now you have taken control, or what was the word that we said? They are now reporting directly to you.
I like oversight.
Oversight. Isn't that interesting? I am so happy to hear that. Okay, that was the end of my question. That was all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Guillen.
Under position acquisitions, your first slide, you talked about 7 positions have been filled. One of the recurring themes that had come up in the past was the need for programmers. I don't see those positions being filled here. What's your plan for actually having the classified staff to actually do the job that is required? It seems like a lot of management positions.
Yes, well, those positions, those management positions were actually positions that were, people had retired or resigned, and all we were doing really was just replacing those. We did add two, it says senior application analysts, but they are programmers. And then one position that's in progress, that's say an application software analyst, that's a programmer. And then for the financial aid module, as we roll out different modules, we'll try to acquire more programmers as we go along. And like I said, I looked at other colleges, and yes, we do need to hire more. I have an org chart. I haven't made it public because I might get in trouble, but that org chart shows the plan for the next 3 years and who we need to acquire in terms of programmers. So yes, your point, your question is well worth its weight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just one comment I'd like to make. I enjoyed hearing the words, I'm responsible, I'm accountable, things like that I haven't heard at this meeting in the past. So as a trustee, I'm very heartened to hear that, and I hope to hear more of that in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gonzalez, yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you for the format. I've been asking, I think the board has been asking for an understandable format to really follow progress divided by areas in a way that anybody could look at, and then tying it to a budget where we could see, oh, all right, we have an initial amount allocated and this amount has been spent and we're this far along. That was really helpful. So thank
Great.
you. You responded well in that regard, and so that's great. Couple questions, and this is going to sound super facetious, but have you ever heard of a program called WordStar?
WordStar.
WordStar. You probably haven't because you're too young. WordStar, it was one of these early word processing programs, and I raise it because we went through WordStar and then WordPerfect, and now we're at Word and Commodore. Okay, whatever, yeah. And here's where I'm going. You know how we're moving to this documentation system that's all digital and so forth, and if I had to go back and open up my doctoral dissertation right now, my electronic version of it, I couldn't. I have no idea how to do it. It's on a floppy disk. Do you remember those? And I'm wondering, imagine that like 20 years in the future, somebody came and asked us for a transcript, say. You know, a transcript of a class, something like that. How would we, if we were going to our data warehouse, how would we ensure that we could actually open the document? I've got a couple other questions, but this question just sort of popped into my mind tonight for some reason.
You know that project we talk about, electronic content management, the document management project?
Yeah.
We don't know exactly how far we're going to go back, but I haven't looked at the specs totally. But we're going to go back and we're going to scan many of those older documents.
Into what?
Into PeopleSoft system. They'll be into a storage area where they can be accessed through our PeopleSoft system.
Well, what I mean is, like, imagine 20 years from now, and the person in your position, and it might be you, and somebody says, well, do you know what WordStar is? And you have no idea what WordStar is because it's a program that's 20 years old and nobody uses it. And so I'm just imagining in the future, 10, 20 years, PDF. People will say, well, what's a PDF? I have no idea what a PDF is because that was some ancient technology that people used in the Stone Age. And I'm wondering, how do we, so I'll just leave that with you to ponder, to think, how do we ensure that future generations, even 5 years from now, will be able to open the documents that we are digitizing right now? So I'm sure that somebody is thinking about this, and I just want to pose it as a question that somebody will eventually come back to and respond to. I'm really thrilled that we can look at a February 2014 completion date for financial aid, and that we're 17% into that project. I'll be monitoring that with excitement every month. Like, we should be 10% along further, and that's great. And then the last question that I had to do with educational support. When I look at the IT plan, I'm thinking as a classroom instructor for just a second. how I use online resources, how I use them in the classroom, how I access them for students, and the kind of IT support that's needed to facilitate learning. I see a lot of stuff to facilitate business and financial aid and all that, which is amazing and great. I see some stuff around mobile learning, you know, better wireless, et cetera. But I'm thinking we've got all these employees whose fundamental job is to facilitate learning, to help students learn. And increasingly, we're doing that digitally, we're doing that through IT. And I'm not seeing a big emphasis, but that is our business here, is education. And I'm not seeing a big emphasis in the IT plan on that. And I'm just wondering if you could just address that a little bit and help me understand am I missing something, or is that just, it's in another part of the plan that's coming along?
Well, let's take a look. I think you hit on something, but I think we are addressing that. Well, one, with the grade book, that's part of the IT strategy, is to implement a grade book. And I hope that would facilitate the educational component. Another one is the scheduling system, if I can find it.
I'm thinking more the day-to-day business of what an instructor does in a classroom and what an instructor does interacting with students who increasingly are relying on the internet, and we don't necessarily get the training to our faculty members to assist them in keeping up with the learning needs of the students. Now, instructors are amazing because they're always thinking about how to improve the teaching, how to improve the learning. And because we're in such a fast-paced, changing world,
yes.
You know, just like website management, like a lot of instructors have websites, and then the websites, you know, the technology changes, and then they need to be retrained. And so that's just got to be part of our planning in here somewhere, and I'm not seeing it highly emphasized. So
if you saw my org chart, you will see something on there called a technology trainer. And that's what I'm proposing to help alleviate some of that classroom, because that's one of the questions that also faculty posed to me about the adequate training.
I'm sure they did.
And so I have it in the radar. I haven't pushed it because
right.
I'm going to need the support, and maybe this is this is the support that I need to help that. I have a vision for it, technology trainer, and that trainer will have a schedule of training classes for the faculty and for classroom instruction, such as the smart classroom. Yes, we have on the IT strategy, we have the streaming of smart classroom technology to mobile devices, as you indicated. But what we really need here at Peralta, in my view, is a technology trainer where we can set up training on a calendar where people can go and get this type of training. I've seen it done before. I just don't know what the priority is here. But now I think I got some momentum.
Well, I don't want to take your focus off of financial aid. You know, if you could just do that, and that was all you did in the next year, I'd be pretty happy. No, I mean, I'm really serious, and I know that because our primary business is learning, I think that it needs to be more than one technology trainer. I think it needs to be integrated into virtually every aspect of what we're doing these days. But thank you. I'll let you go with that. Thank you.
And just to close your
there's a question from a trustee Clegg.
Well, I don't have a question, but I do have a statement. I just want to say that this is the first semester that I haven't heard from any students complaining about Passport crashing on them or closing down. So I want to thank you for that and hope that in the future that it will continue to progress.
Thank you very much. That's going to go a long ways with my team tomorrow.
And that's major. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions, members of the board? Anyone? There appear to be none. So I want to thank you very much for a very clear report. I think it has made all of us feel a lot better about what's happening in IT, and it confirms our judgment that you're going to do an excellent job. You have been doing an excellent job, and we thank you for that. I understand you have large committees that are also supplying information to you as you proceed.
Yes.
And on those committees are faculty representatives as well. And my assumption is that they are going to be presenting the kinds of emphases that they would like to see in the future. And I think, having been a former faculty member, teaching faculty how to access all that incredible machinery, that is digital machinery that's out there, and make them experts in the manipulation of that, those powers there, I think, is in itself a great asset to education. So anyway, thank you very much for the report. And with that, we move to
Thank you for the opportunity.
at that, we move to a I'm sorry.
Mr. President, I move to approve the consent calendar.
My first question is, are there any speakers on the consent calendar?
No speakers on the consent calendar.
No speakers, so there's a move, and is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that, thank you, that moves us to the action calendar, and then we have a report. I believe from the foundation concerning a request for.
President Galassa, I'd like to point out that this report is item 26. It is in consideration and a second amendment to the master agreement with the Peralta District and the Peralta Colleges Foundation. Have our Executive Director, Romeo Garcia, present this item so that he can provide background information and answer any questions the trustees may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. For the record, my name again is Romeo Garcia, Executive Director of the Peralta Colleges Foundation. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. As the Chancellor said, I'm here to give information regarding the consideration of approval of the Second Amendment to the Master Agreement, which in this request is an additional $50,000 to the Peralta College Foundation to support our administrative costs through the end of this fiscal year. This will allow, providing this funding for our administrative costs will allow me to continue to focus on raising scholarship dollars, which are restricted funds, versus funds for operations. And as I go through my the information that I'm providing, it will give you an idea of why we want to continue to maintain our focus on making sure that we're raising scholarship funds. As you know, we did receive a $250,000 grant from the San Francisco Foundation, and the purpose of that grant was to be used, according to the foundation, for capacity building and administrative support. The foundation board has been strategic in allocating funds to build our capacity, which involves leveraging the San Francisco Foundation funds from other sources, with other sources, versus spending the funds immediately and to pay operational costs. If we manage these funds well, there's a potential for repeat funding from the same San Francisco Foundation source or other sources that have paid attention to how we manage the grants that we receive. The board, the Peralta Foundation board, is preparing a report to the trustees that will be presented in late April or early May in time for budget allocations for fiscal year 2013-2014. So you will see how we're looking at our funding streams to fund the foundation. This report will include three-tiered funding streams: funding from the district, funding from the foundation, and funding from the remainder of the San Francisco Foundation funds. Investment in the success of the foundation from all of this, by having these three different funding streams, we will show an investment by all of our different stakeholders in the work of the foundation. Already, a good portion of the grant has been allocated to develop and purchase a database and the staffing needed to establish a robust Peralta Colleges Alumni Association, which is something that has had different starts but stops in the past. But according to or based on the recommendation of the San Francisco Foundation, they're recommending that this is something we really focus our energies on because there are a large number of Peralta College alumni that have not yet been engaged in supporting the district. So following this suggestion, what we've already done is allocated funds from the grant to, again, develop the database, to hire an alumni director, because once we start to manage the number of contacts that we will have with our alums, it's going to take an individual to be able to really do the kind of follow-up and develop the kind of programs that are going to engage the alums. We don't just want to find out who they are, but we really want to develop ways to really help them or to engage them in the work of the foundation and the work of the district. Alumni will be a great source of internships as well as job placements for our students, along with fundraising, the fundraising potential of our alumni that we still have yet to realize. Funds are also being allocated to strategically grow the capacity of the foundation through grant writing, through marketing, and public relations. And I think this is an important aspect that I've been working on since being the executive director, and that is being out in the community and making sure that the public knows about the foundation, knows about the importance of the work, and the way that we plan on doing our work and how they can be involved. So that's going to be a very important part of how we're using the San Francisco Foundation funds. Funds from the San Francisco Foundation grant are also being allocated to student scholarships. We want to demonstrate to the foundation that that students are the center of the work that we do, and without making sure that we're having some concrete ways of supporting them in the very beginning, then we're not putting that priority in the right place. So we are allocating funds directly for scholarships. Regarding our plans for fundraising at the foundation for the upcoming year, 2013-2014, as the information you received earlier regarding our annual golf tournament, that's one of the events that we're going to continue to have. And as you look at the information we gave you, we're really being aggressive in making sure that we're attempting to raise a significant amount of funds, more than previous years. I've started planning the annual gala, and a great thing to note is that when I ran into Mr. Heyman the other day, he let me know that this is the 50th year anniversary of the Peralta Foundation. So 50 years is a great number to be able to use to promote our gala and to roll into 2014. And as we said today, we'll use that 50 years as broadly as we possibly can to make sure that we really celebrate the Peralta colleges. I also plan to have donor fundraising events along with donor appreciation events. It's important, as much as we ask our donors for funding, it's very important that we also thank them and show our appreciation. And so a combination of events will be planned to highlight our donors and to increase our individual donor base. Also, other potential for funding will come from foundation grants. Just like the San Francisco Foundation recognized the potential of the Peralta Colleges Foundation, just this past week, an unsolicited request to do a site visit at the Peralta Foundation through the Whittier Trust, which is an organization in Southern California that manages a significant amount of money for families of wealth throughout the United States. The Peralta Colleges Foundations, they circled back around to us after about a year. About a year ago, they spoke with President Budd, had a great conversation with her. They got busy with their work, but they said now they're looking at the Peralta Colleges Foundation again, and that we have been placed on the short list. So it was great to have them come out. I brought a couple of students to tell their stories, because it's not about me talking about what our students, how we have an impact on our students, but really putting our students in front of the potential funders, and they did an excellent job. So with groups like the Whittier Trust, the San Francisco Foundation, having recognized the work that we're doing, I believe that there's a potential for even more funders to come on board and try to support the work that we're doing. Another grant that I'm going to be working on is with the Gates Foundation in connection with their Changing Course, a guide to increasing student completion in community colleges. And I know that's an emphasis for us, that we want to make sure that students not only come to the community colleges, but they have the kind of support, both financial, academic, and personal support to make sure that they complete the program and that they go on to their next step. And then finally, our focus on partnerships with the business community will help us to develop more programs that are going to help direct our students, as well as possibly generate funds from companies that are willing to support us, support us financially to help develop some of the programs that we have. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your consideration of this request and your continued support of the foundation. Your support helps our success, which helps Peralta College students to achieve their goals.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the second amendment?
Move to approve, Mr. President.
And seconded? All right, discussion?
Yeah, I just have questions. May I direct questions to?
Please.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. I just want to be clear on the funding. So this is a proposal for $50,000 for January to June?
For the remainder of this academic year from now through the end of June.
Yeah. So then, and we spoke about this, so this is not a surprise. So June to July 1st, then what's going to be the request, or is there going to be a request?
Going into the next fiscal year, is there going to be requests for funding from the district? Yes, the plan that the board is putting together right now, and it's not fully worked out, is to present a plan that involves both district funding, foundation, Peralta College's board funding, and to help sustain the foundation from here on out. And the idea behind that is that everyone's investment, both the district has a reason to invest in the success of the Peralta Foundation because by supporting the foundation financially as well as in the other ways that the district does is helping to support the success of our students. So we will be raising additional funds. The goal is to raise even more funds than we have in the past to lessen the amount that the district that we may come to request from the district in years going out.
Yeah. I just want to be clear, and fellow board members. So 50,000, and then so July 1st.
July 1st.
You're going to come back. So you want a continuous partnership of $130,000 to be a partner for here on out.
Somewhere around that. We're still working on the plan, but that is a plan to come and present this proposal to the trustees for that continued partnership.
And you're aware of the history of when this $300,000 was given to the foundation. You know the history of that.
Right, the $250,000 and now the 50.
No, the $300,000 that this board gave.
It was $250 and then $250.
Yeah.
Right, for the past 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, and one of the things I'd like to respond is, I certainly can't speak to what has happened, but I'm really excited about and appreciate all of the support that we've had and the attention that the response that we've gotten from the broader community, and believe that we can do the type of fundraising that will help the foundation to become more independent, more self-sufficient, although not completely, because we do believe in the partnership between the foundation and the district.
Okay, my last question. So I appreciate your the board willingness to get into this alumni, identified alumni, but that's a real specialized area. And I know that there's usually a dedicated arena just to look at alumni. And I guess it'll be a great challenge for the foundation board to put that together. And as a member of the board, I guess I just haven't been as involved in thinking, because I think it's a bigger picture than just try to organize alumni and provide service in the foundation. There's a lot of other work they're trying to do. So I just put that on the table to see, is that really realistic? I think we all have to try to go out and look at the alumni, but maybe that's another partnership we need to talk about.
Yeah, I have been working with other foundations or getting information from other foundations as well about their alumni efforts, and they have been making recommendations of the certain databases and the type of information we need to be looking for from our alums, and it is a large undertaking, and that's why earlier on I said that one of the ways that we're going to be able to manage this. It's not certainly with the staff that we currently have, but through the support of the San Francisco Foundation, initially we'll be able to hire someone that's going to be responsible and designated and dedicated to that effort. I'll be overseeing all of these operations, but I think it's really going to be really important to have someone that is that's totally focused on the alumni program development as well as working with the alumni moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure if you were here for the previous presentation by our IT director, but one of the things that he highlighted was alumni contributions. So I just want to make sure that there's integration between our system and the database coordinator that you're about to hire, because those two probably need to interact. And I don't want the institution launching a module or whatever without really coordinating with the foundation. So that's point number one. Point number two is that I want to make sure that originally when we entered into the master agreement, there were certain tenets, certain covenants between the foundation and the board or the district. Namely, an organizational chart would be provided for the auxiliary, requesting facility requirements, identification of a liaison to the district to resolve any employee disputes, a process for coordination with the district's human resources department on hirings and employee disputes, and such as discrimination claims, a process for evaluation of the executive director and the district's ability to participate in such evaluations through a committee that would include the chancellor, and identification of supplies and equipment needs. Now, I haven't been aware, we entered this agreement in 2010, and I'm not aware of those things that they've actually happened. Maybe they have, but certainly if we're going to enter into another agreement, we probably need to take a look at that master agreement and make sure that we actually did those things that we said we're going to do in order to make the decision as to what the future relationship is going to look like. So that's the only comment I wanted to make.
Thank you.
I think having a bit of institutional history, I've served on the Peralta Foundation for my entire terms, 10 years plus. And when we made the decision to subsidize or give the $250,000 for 2 and then 3 years to the foundation, we were given information at the time that made us feel that it would be best that the foundation would be more successful if it was a separate entity from the district. And so in kind of severing the ties, we were subsidizing for that period of time, hoping that it would be independent after a year. That didn't happen. But I do have to say that in the past 6 to 8 months, I have seen more action and more productivity in this foundation board than ever before. We have had good and loyal members, but the foundation board now is so incredible, and they're moving at a pace that I just can't believe that this is happening. And so it has been, I think, determined that we actually want to keep the closer relationship with the foundation, that the district and the foundation don't want to sever the ties. And I think that's why we see something in the master agreement that we did not participate or involve ourselves in. I mean, at one point, the hirings, the firings, and all of that for the foundation were completely separate from the district, and we had nothing to do with that. But it's a new day, and it's a new foundation, and I think that it's actually a great foundation. And I think we have to thank Karen Friedman, who has now been president of the foundation for, what, 3 years now? Going on 4 years. No good deed goes unpunished. We really worked hard to get her here, but I just have to say, going to those meetings, it's incredible. And also the last meeting, and all of the years that I've been in Peralta, I've never had a chancellor sit through the entire meeting. And that shows how important the foundation, the work that it's doing, and the district working together. It shows that we have a whole different relationship, and working together, there's no limit to what we can do for our students. And again, I've talked to, I think I'm really wearing Romeo out, because every time I see a possibility of someone who might be a sponsor, I'm sending the information over to him constantly. But also we had this issue of what do we do with all of these scholarship agreements. I get things from the Congresswoman's office that list all types of scholarships and things that are going on that are of interest to the employees, faculty, and staff as well. And now the foundation, with it being on its website, they're willing to take on the responsibility of being the place where students need to look for all information on any scholarship, not only students, but faculty as well, but all opportunities for funding will be centralized in that area. So as I said, it's a new day, and I'm really excited about the direction that we're going, and I'm also excited about this board, because none of this could have happened if this board had not been supportive of all the years that the foundation was struggling. And I want to say thank you to all of you as well for that.
Thank you, Trustee Brown.
Thank you, my colleagues Handy and Abel-Guillen, regarding their comments, because those are things that I think are very important to be said in terms of what had happened in the past and what the controls and protections are that the district had put in place and the improvement that the district wants to see. From fresh eyes, one of the initial trainings that I undertook as a new trustee was to go to a conference on fundraising for foundations. And it does parallel the information that was presented, primarily was from Saddleback College, which had been wildly successful, I would say, in their direct contact with alumni to raise money. In fact, that it was said or the statistical information, the resource data that was presented showed that the process that the foundation is undertaking now was actually even more successful than a lot of the event planning that had been done in the past. So I want to commend the foundation on doing their research and going with the industry standard in terms of effectiveness and productivity in terms of growing the investment that the district is making or has made in the past and that you're asking for now. So as a member of a public representative, I'm very pleased to see that you're taking steps that are proven by research and empirical data to bring the best result, the best reward for the investment. So I thank you for that. And I think it's important to see the separation between what had been the course in the past and what's the course now. It's much more driven, I believe, from what I've seen by a disciplined and well thought out approach. So I think that that's very encouraging and worth supporting for those reasons.
Thank you very much. Other comments? Thank you very much for the presentation. Do we have a motion? Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Nays? Looks like it's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you and congratulations. And I did want to just briefly personally thank Karen Friedman for the work that she did while I was on the board. And I'm very anxious to support what you have done. And you supported us when it came to the Parcel B, our tax, parcel tax. I think what was it, around $40,000 or $50,000 that you contributed that after. Then I think it's a mutual, whatever you call it, admiration society to a certain extent. I wish you luck. I would, at some point in the future, like to see the actual master plan, if you'd like, for where we're going to go here, the specific here's who we're contacting, et cetera, so that just we can have some idea of how you're progressing. But thank you very much for your work, and good luck for the immediate future.
Right. Thank you.
And with that, we have item 27, consider board vote.
I move approval, Mr. President, to support the incumbents, including Cy Galassa, Louise Jaffe, Isabel Barreras, and Jerry Hart.
Is the second to the motion? Second. All those in favor?
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, just a question, and I haven't discussed this with you or anybody else on the board, as a matter of fact, but why are we voting for your competitors? Why aren't we just voting one time for the trustee named Galassa?
I appreciate that, and that is a strategy that some districts employ, and it's worthy of consideration. However, I've developed a personal friendship and leadership kind of relationship with the individuals that are named here. Isabel Barreras is currently the president of the trustees, the statewide trustees, and Louise Jaffe is in the running to be a future president. And Jerry Hart is one of the hardest working members on that board. So with those three, the others, non-incumbents.
I know them as well, but have their districts, are they correspondingly going to vote for you?
I really don't know. And, you know,
You're not conniving enough.
Yeah, I'm not conniving enough. No, I haven't gone out and I haven't talked to everybody and begged for a vote. I've worked hard with the organization, and I'm hoping for the best. And if not, there will be no significant regrets. And anyone who wants to make a contribution to my campaign, I accept. I'm going to see the foundation head in just a few minutes. Anyway, with that, I believe we've come to the end. I think that's why there's a little giddy note in my, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, there are none, of course. And with that, I believe, do we have some final announcements before we
do
adjourn?
have some announcements, Mr. President, and I know our board tends to meet twice a month, but you know, there are high-functioning boards out there that meet once a month. I just wanted to point that out. But our next meeting is going to be April 9th here at the district office, and we are celebrating Cesar Chavez Day here at the district on Friday, March 29th. The offices will be closed at the colleges and at the district. We wish to pass on our warm wishes to the community for a happy Easter, to the Jewish community, happy Passover, and the Iranian community, a happy Nowruz, or Persian New Year. Happy spring break to our students, and congratulations again to our Laney College Culinary Arts students for receiving a bronze medal in the prestigious Pacific Northwest Regional Chefs Competition. And on a more somber note, the board sends sympathy to the family and friends of Carolyn Chin Yi upon her passing. Some of you may know Carolyn. She was the beloved wife of Gary Yi, former Peralta Vice Chancellor of Educational Services and Oakland School Board member, and herself a retired principal and educator. And we'd also like to send our sympathies to the family and friends of Ms. Terry Aldretti upon her untimely passing. She's a tireless champion of the Latino community, and for all of us here in the East Bay, and particularly in the Fruitvale community here in Oakland. If we can conclude the meeting in their memories, Mr. President.
The meeting is adjourned.
When I get a text, it whistles.
I took my father on a retreat, and people kept, I was just at a knitters retreat in Guerneville.
Oh, how cool. It sounds so nice. Was it peaceful? Was the weather nice?
I woke up Saturday morning, I stepped outside my bedroom, and breakfast was already set for the 20th. Right?
Oh, how nice.
And oh my God, we had the chili relleno feather eggs.